Hey, you guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven, accompanied by Queen Taylor, and today we're going to be taking a look at some more Billy Connolly, Dwarf on a Bus this time. We first started out with Billy doing Wildebeest, and it was funny. I also was throwing out what movies I thought he was in. Clearly, he was not in Braveheart.
Braveheart.
Not Braveheart. Although it sounded like he should have been in Braveheart, but, you know, there was some stories in the comments about that whole Braveheart thing. But he was in the movie Brave as the papa. And I'm like, yeah, I could hear him. And Tom Cruise, he was the big bad in The Last Samurai.
Yeah, I never watched it, but I did see that in the comments.
Yeah, I watched it. It was a good movie. It was good. We gotta check it out together. It's kind of stupid, actually.
Yeah, it sounds riveting.
It is riveting. I mean, basically samurais versus guns. It's
Gotta get right on it.
Now I just ruined the whole movie, but anyways.
I feel like I watched it.
Yeah. Saved you about an hour of your life.
Yeah, thank you.
But anyways, you guys, let's hop on over to the video and let's get it started.
So anyway, my sister told me this, and she swears that it's true. And I hope it's true. And if I tell it right, you will hope it's true. My sister is a retired school teacher, and she supplies herself to people who don't have teachers. She's a supply teacher. When somebody is sick or dead, she'll supply herself.
A substitute teacher?
Yeah, substitute.
Well. And her friend told her this story. And when she told me the story, I thought I would pee myself. I was in New York where I live, and she phoned me, and I fell on my phone's next to my bed. I fell onto my bed. You know that way you laugh, your legs won't work right. And I told my wife, I said, Flo just told me the funniest story. I'm going to tell my audience this. It's about a dwarf. And she said, well, you can't, Billy.
You can't.
You can't do it. I said, why? She says, because you can't say dwarf. I said, why the fuck not? I'm talking about a dwarf. Surely you can say dwarf when it's a dwarf you're talking about. She says, they're little people. I said, but little people and dwarfs
Are two different things.
Between a little person and a dwarf. One of them is a fucking dwarf.
Yes.
And they both know which one it fucking is. Don't give me that shite. So I decided to tell it. Her friend was going to supply herself to a school somewhere. And she got on a Glasgow bus. Oh, please be true. And she sat down, and it just happened to be the last seat. And the bus took off and trundled off into the day. 4 or 5 stops later, the bus stops, and a wee dwarf woman comes on. I've now compounded the felony by calling her a wee dwarf.
I was just going to say that.
She wasn't a particularly small dwarf. It was just a dwarf-sized dwarf. I'll probably get all sorts of complaints now. Dear Mr. Connolly, I saw your otherwise excellent show. What a pity you descended to the dwarf story. I, personally, I'm a member of the Tall Dwarf Society. I'm 6'4". I'm proud to call myself a dwarf.
God, in today's day and age.
I also do impersonations of chocolate biscuits, if you ever saw. Anyway, the wee woman got on the bus, the wee dwarf woman, and discovered there's no seat. And so hung on to whatever was nearest, the seat to the pole or whatever. And the bus took off.
Oh, no.
There was a wee schoolgirl in a school uniform sitting over here, probably urged along by her mother. Give the woman your seat. Give that woman your seat. She went over to the wee dwarf woman and she said, excuse me, would you like to have my seat? Whereupon the wee dwarf woman flew into a rage and said, oh, aye, because I'm a dwarf. You're offering me a seat simply because I'm a dwarf. Well, I have managed my whole life as a dwarf. It's not a problem to me. Keep your seat. The girl, cringing with embarrassment, went back to her seat, and the bus trundled on in silent embarrassment for a stop or three. Then, oh, please be true.
That makes it so much better.
The Glasgow woman was getting off the bus. And before she went up to the door, she went over to the wee dwarf woman. She said, I'm getting off the bus and I'm leaving my empty seat here. Because I'm a dwarf. You said, no, not because you're a dwarf, because you're another human being. I happen to be leaving the bus. My seat is vacant. I'm merely pointing it out to you that it exists. As a matter of fact, I thought you were extremely rude to that wee girl and you owe her an apology. As a matter of fact, I hope when you go home tonight, Snow White kicks your ass.
Oh,
Oh my God, that's so funny.
as a Snow White Disney fan,
I know, I love that.
I don't know why, if it's like he just exudes this like wisdom and the accent, you know, and delivery. He's like a wise old Irish man telling stories. Scottish.
Not the same. Before you say that.
It's this close.
I know you were.
This close.
I know you good enough. I know, and he builds this just really fun anticipation, you know, by kind of slowly bringing on the story and then multiple times being like, I hope it's true. It's just making me that much more anticipated for the punchline. Like,
Oh yeah.
they made it a lot funnier too, I think. He's so good. He's so funny.
We get it, you guys. He
Yeah.
is exceptional. I think that tickled me in a way that probably shouldn't have.
I know.
It
It's
probably
funny
should.
too, because the whole time, you know, every time he said dwarf, I'm like, you know, back when Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was created, I mean, I would assume that maybe saying dwarf was more acceptable. And now, you know, there's terms that are not used that used to be that I think probably would be offensive to most people. But it's,
Let me ask you a question.
yes.
Dwarves
Mm-hmm.
are a thing, right? And we call them dwarves because of their stature, correct? Right?
Mhm.
Think they're small. What about elves? Dwarven.
Elves aren't real.
Okay.
Dwarves are real people.
Yeah, but it's like mystical. It's fantasy.
No.
Yeah, dwarves and elves and high elves and
Elves are not the same.
we'll tell
Dwarves
that
are
to the
little
dwarven
people.
you know, tell that to the guys that mine. They like to mine things. Yeah,
Now you're going back to Snow White.
I'm just saying. They're I don't know if all of the little people got together and said, I don't like to be called dwarf anymore. Dwarven. The elven.
I don't think they all came together from all over the freaking world, had a meeting place, and agreed upon it in
well,
that
until
way.
that happens.
There's plenty of other names for things that used to be used or used to be acceptable that are not anymore. Time just changes and people become
Offended.
more offended, and
Oh no, I've got some sand in my knickers.
I mean, if that's the way you want to see it,
Yeah,
I
I do.
guess. Like Eskimo used to be used, and now that's considered
What's wrong with
an
Eskimo?
offensive word.
How is Eskimo offensive? How the hell is Eskimo offensive?
If it's something you don't know about, then you're not going to know why it's offensive.
That's
It's not
crazy.
offensive to you because you're not one.
people in the comments call us Yanks all the time.
They do call us Yanks. Are you offended by it?
No, because Yanks are what we call New Yorkers, and I'm not from New York. So I'm like, whatever. They literally have a baseball team called the Yankees.
Yeah, okay. Well, some people might be offended by Yanks. Some people aren't because they just don't care. I mean, if you choose to get offended by everything, that's one thing. There are names that are offensive that you shouldn't call people. I don't know.
Yeah, I hate it. Anyways, Dwarf on a Bus.
Very funny. This one was highly requested.
Yeah.
Once we did Wildebeest, this was the one that we were consistently seeing people tell us to check out. I see why. Love Billy Connolly.
Love him.
I read that he lives somewhere in Florida.
Well, let's go, Billy.
And if he just wants to move in with us.
No, he's rich and famous.
So we'll move in with him.
Yeah, we're going to move in with him.
That makes way more sense.
He doesn't want to live in our draperies are not up to his. No.
You don't know. Maybe he doesn't care about that stuff. But maybe he has one of those kind of mother-in-law suites since he's rich. So we can just move in there. We're not in his way, but we can go into the house and hang out with him anytime we want.
I was just thinking, let's go have a cup of tea or something with the guy. Like, let's go have a beer.
I mean, you can do that. I'm going to move in. I want to hang out with him all the time.
It's like we could just hang out once and like have a good, nice time. And you're like, no, I want to move straight in.
Why would I want to have a good, nice time one time when I could have a good, nice time all the time?
He's got a family.
Yeah.
His kids are going to be like, who are these people?
My new children.
Don't talk to your replacements like that.
Exactly.
But anyways, you guys, Billy's great. Love him. And we'll let us know down in the comments what you thought about this performance, for one. How do you feel about the whole Dwarf thing? Don't tell me what you think about it. Doesn't matter.
I'm curious, actually. Continue to answer that
It's
question.
going to be like flagged. YouTube's going to freak out because YouTube's woke AF.
YouTube is pretty woke.
Yeah, YouTube is pretty
We have to delete a lot of comments that aren't necessarily bad, but they'll have certain words that we're like, that's going to get our channel dinged.
It's like, okay, Disney. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for the video recommendation. Leave down in the comments what you think, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.